I thought I had ADHD. I really did. And I've talked to a lot of psychiatrists and therapists since then. I spent a lot of time working on mental health because apparently I really needed it. I didn't realize I was hurting.
What's up, everybody? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcast, Rafa Esparza, coming to you with a very special edition of Grappling Hour. Now, it's not every day that you look on your phone, you sift through your Instagram stories, and you say, I'm sorry, is Andrew Wiltse going to be in LA in a week's time? You would think this is the kind of thing you organize and put a lot of time into. Not the case here. Andrew Wiltse did come because obviously he's in this shot and you can see it. However, what I didn't know was that he would be teaching seminars. He would be teaching privates. I went to a couple of those seminars and those group classes, and they were quite good. And he has brought a friend on the show. She has never been on a podcast before, so if you guys are mean, I'm going to fuck you up in the comments. Be nice, everybody. Actually, you know what? He'll beat you up because I can't beat up people as efficiently as he can. Smart. But, so, we're going to introduce her, but we're going to say, first and foremost, thank you to both Fleur and Andrew Wiltse, but Fleur Wayman, right? Wayman?
Wayman.
See, this is why I got to phonetically. Do you understand why I tried to hit the landing so hard? Usually I have it asked phonetically, and I didn't ask that here.
It's okay.
Because I was trying to hear it in my head. I remember the cheat code, which was, no way, man.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, nope, we're just going to. I heard Bart Simpson in my head instead, so it did not work. Fleur, thank you so much for being here. Andrew, thank you so much for being here. How has your stay been in Los Angeles thus far?
So I bought one-way tickets because I'm number 6 in the world and I'm one of the best coaches in the world, and I knew I could just fucking walk around LA and find a gym to teach at. I wasn't really concerned. It was on short notice because I recently partnered Wiltse Brothers BJJ with 2 companies that do event hosting and they do streaming, Athletic Junction and Event Smarter. And they came to me and they asked me if I could problem solve for them. They asked, can you get people at this political rally? And I said, Jiu-Jitsu people? Fuck no. There's not a goddamn chance on earth I get them there by making a post. But what if I just get some time before the political rally and I teach a seminar? And it was like 6 days out, and they were like, would that work? And I was like, I'm good at planning. I can probably make it work. How many people do you expect to have at the event? And they gave me a number, and I'm like, I can get that. So I fucking ran with it. And I ended up in LA and ended up walking around. I met some people. One of them was a homeless lady that masturbated in front of me. My girlfriend didn't like that. And we just went with it. And it's been fun. I walked around. Like I said, I got a lot of experience. I'm from LA. I expected nothing different from you motherfuckers, okay? And I got to teach some private lessons throughout the week. I got to teach some classes, and I really like to teach, so I've had a fantastic time.
Well, she was also doing the majority of the filming. So if any of you guys saw the video that went up, which you were very kind to put up on your Instagram Live, you actually put up not only an Instagram Live of the seminar, but then you put it as part of your news feed so that people can go back and they can actually look at that. So if you were at all watching any part of that, you need to thank her for making sure that looked nice. Well, what are we quotation marking here? You did it.
What do you think there's a quotation mark for?
I was like, what the fuck is that? Okay, it's peace signs. Got it.
Listen, Vietnam. What the hell, man?
So how did the two of you meet? We'll start with that.
You want to take that one, or I can?
You can go for that one. Yeah.
I fucked my personal assistant.
All right. Well, that's a quick way of getting us on base.
Yeah, so,
Okay, it's more complicated.
So
than that,
why don't we have her start, because I think you already set it
I
up.
offered you the chance. You know how I'm going to go with this.
I mean, so basically I moved down to Illinois that way I could start training at Daisy Fresh because I was actually super inspired by him through all of the instructionals and YouTube content they've been putting out. And I became friends with Bird online previously. And then Bird was like, oh, I think she'd actually be a really great fit to be an assistant for what we're trying to do. So I moved down, started working for them, and then that's how we met.
What was the first thing I told you?
Oh, yeah. He was like, you are not prepared for what's about to happen. I was like the first
I
words
didn't
out of
mean
his
it like
mouth. I
that.
got out of my car after a 12-hour drive, and then he rushes out the house, and he's like, you are not prepared for what's about to happen. I'm like, okay.
Were you prepared for what was about to happen?
Yes and no.
Okay.
She came down in the middle of the bad part of the manic episode. The bad part, where I was psychotic and I had 6 whiteboards.
Okay.
I stopped even talking. I couldn't take the time to explain shit to people. I started writing notes.
So here's some good news. He ended the seminar by telling everyone, hey, everybody, tell the internet I'm not crazy. And then he had a beat and he goes, nah, fuck that. Let them think whatever the fuck they want.
I just don't care anymore. Listen, they keep confusing eccentric for crazy. And anything I have that sounds like it's really cool, they say grandiose. They don't even know what that word means, I promise. I can't care. If I care what they think, I'm fucked.
Sure. Let's talk about what happened, though, because it did happen.
Oh, yeah.
I don't believe I know the facts, and I know we've talked off air about it, but I don't know if other people truly understand what happened. So you put up some status updates that kind of explained it. But
I made an ISIS video. Listen, I need you guys to understand something. When I was in the midst of the manic episode, my voice didn't sound wrong to me. Nothing seemed wrong because my mania manifested as hyper-rationality. It really genuinely did. Everything it did had a coherent reason. A equals B all the way to Z. I had good reasons. I had good goals. It was like having my core personality values amplified by 1,000. So there was nothing bad about what I was doing. I wanted to start a charity. I wanted to have the people that are influencing me in life in negative ways removed from that ability to influence me. I wanted freedom to do the things I want to do. And it turns out I want to go after sexual predators and like help people. So that's okay. But like my manic self took, listen, what do you keep saying I am?
Eccentric.
No, the other one.
Which one?
She says I'm like a creature of excess.
She's going down a list. So
Something
like,
like I'm extra as fuck. Okay, I don't fuck around. I really did sit out in the grass with 6 whiteboards for 10 hours. I didn't use the bathroom, nothing. And I had really good plans. Okay, I had good plans and good business models to the point where while manic and psychotic, you motherfuckers heard the video. I was able to go to a bank loan officer with a business model I came up with in 1 minute. Okay, it took me 10 minutes to write the proposal, and I psychotically pitched it to her. And she agreed to give me an emergency loan of $60,000 only so I could scale my business. That's a fact, okay? So I had good plans, and they would have worked out much better if I'd have known I sounded crazy, okay? But Bird and my team did not help me a lot. I kept asking them. Okay, so here's a fact about me. I was clinically dissociated in the gym. The gym environment and the toxicity and all of the different factors when it comes to being a competition guy who sells his car as soon as he moves to Daisy Fresh for reasons and is a little stuck. I let life beat me down to the point where I dissociated. Dissociation runs in my family. Okay, my family has a lot of mental problems. Okay, on my mom's side, and I went and researched this, and I've talked to therapists and psychiatrists. So, I completely dissociated. The me you saw talking about buzzsaws was a moron. He really was. And that me happened to be sharper than most people, which is really confusing. You guys should think about some stuff more often, okay? But I was able to do a lot of the stuff that I did because I knew what I was supposed to be doing. I had zero motivation. There was not a single time from blue belt on I actually wanted to win a tournament or compete. I did what everyone else always wanted me to do. I was stuck. The manic episode kicked me out of that. It really did. I woke up, and when you come out of dissociation, you happen to be very intelligent. The symptoms look similar to mania because I was euphoric. I was happy. I felt like I had plans to get free from a lot of stuff. And I kept asking my team members, one of which was a licensed therapist, what would the difference be in the world if I was dissociated and then I became not dissociated and I woke up, or I was manic? And they couldn't tell me. They just said, Andrew, you sound wrong. But I didn't sound wrong to myself. That's an opinion. That's not a fact. You didn't prove it to me. So I actually had to figure it out myself after I had enabled my master plan like a psychopath. Okay? I said, listen, I want to tell you guys a story. Alejandro is the only person from the gym that actually reached out to me and like came over and actually tried to see what was up. Seriously, he's the only single person from the team that gave a fuck enough to come over. And like, he's not the best planner, guys. He let me put my hands on his neck. Okay, and I seemed off, man. Oh my God. And I was showing him jiu-jitsu moves, but like, I'm not going to a person's house that I think is psychotic. He came over and we talked, and I explained the whole situation to him, thinking I sounded rational because I was rational, but other people aren't. So rational information delivered in a psychopathic way bounces off. And I didn't understand why everyone wasn't understanding me. What I was saying was coherent. The delivery was weird. I scared people. So I went and sat down. I hadn't slept in about a week maybe a week and a half. I thought that was weird. But I had a mental health episode going on. I was really, I hyper-fixated on the goal of freedom. I really did. It was a powerful goal. It was the kind of goal that captivates my entire attention, and I have the ability to hyper-focus at a high level. Very high level. I can close everything off. Nothing's intruding. So I finally went down and I said, you know what? I can't trust experts because no one's telling me what to do. No one's giving me the right information. They won't tell me the reason. They only want to tell me their opinions, and I don't care about people's opinions without the reason. I really don't. I can't trust expertise because I know everyone's incompetent. So I'll ask myself, after I've looked up mania and I've looked up dissociation and I've learned a lot about these different sources, what would a manic genius do if he had a plan and it was an important plan? And what would someone who just came out of a dissociative state and got his brain back do? And I went, fuck, I'm manic as fuck. Holy shit, I'm a psychopath. And then the second that I saw it, it's really hard to see you're crazy, guys. It really is. I was able to look in and see an impulsive drive to do stuff now that wasn't normal, because that's not how I operate. When I make a plan, it's a good plan. It has contingency plans, it has failure models, and they're multiple layers deep. Now, the next step is, how do I best implement this plan? That's where I was fucking up. I was rushing everything. So that wasn't normal. That's not how I think. And I remember how I was in Michigan before I dissociated. So a lot of the symptoms were overlapping with that. And there's more to this, okay? So I was able to sit down and look in and introspect. I've journaled and meditated since I was 2, all right? Seriously, my parents told me I had magical powers, and the way to activate them was to fucking meditate and visualize and journal. They made me very sharp and very smart, okay? Imagine taking a kid and turning him into a supercomputer by doing that, because I was motivated. I did it every single day for 13 years. Now, I looked in and I saw it, and I fucking squashed it. And then I went to sleep and I slept for 12 hours. And I woke up the next day, I wasn't manic anymore. And I went straight to a doctor. And the doctor verified I wasn't manic anymore. I didn't have the symptoms anymore. Now, mania can overlay your thought patterns. Mania can imprint on your personality. There's also more going on I haven't got to yet. So now I know this source of information. Mania can imprint on your thought patterns. Now I'm dealing with a lot of the side effects of mania without the impulsive psychotic drive. And all anyone heard from me for the next 2 weeks was me saying things that sounded similar, because I didn't want to change my goals, because my goals were good goals based on my core values. So I had a lot of personal strife going on. My team didn't trust me. Bird didn't trust me. Bird now trusts me. We have a good relationship. We learned how to talk. And I was able to deal with all of it while getting attacked by the community. Daisy Fresh completely turned their back on me. They don't want anything to do with me. I had a high-level member from the team tell me that I'm a poison. Okay, everything I touch, no one wants anything to do with me. Nobody bothered asking me what was going on. Nobody bothered seeing if I was okay. And the few individuals that did got a lot of flack from the team for doing it. Not Heath. Heath was out of town. Okay, but individual members were very toxic to me.
So can I ask here, because this is where I think a lot of people would be concerned, because they're thinking, like, did they not know how to approach you? Did they have some sort of fear? Because there is that element of this. Sometimes when you don't know, you kind of recognize, this is out of my wheelhouse. I am not equipped to try and interact with that person when they're going through that.
If you think someone is psychotic, don't go to their house alone and let them grab your neck. That's step one, okay? But yeah, if you don't know how to deal with it, you don't, okay? But what you don't do is try to guess what they're doing. And what you don't do is tell other people you know what they're doing. They told people I was starting my own rival gym in Mount Vernon, when I built a film studio so they can make instructionals that are high quality, and then they can make some money, okay? I built an outdoor gazebo because I thought I had ADHD. I really did. And I've talked to a lot of psychiatrists and therapists since then. I spent a lot of time working on mental health because apparently I really needed it. I didn't realize I was hurting. And I did all of it for them and for myself. I really did.
Do you think that any of this comes down to a miscommunication? Because
it's only miscommunications, but it's a one-way street because they didn't want to communicate. And that's okay. Listen, I'm going to build every bridge back. But I don't blame them. It's okay.
But then let's talk about how you then do repair. Because if you're looking toward the actual, like, here's what it is, here's my interpretation, they may have a different interpretation as well. Yeah. If that's the case, how do you strengthen those relationships again? And how do you build that trust? Because what's nice, and I'm very happy about this, is that you and Bird were able to rebuild that trust. Do you think that is a similar process, and how do you go about doing that?
It's easy. Okay, you just fucking communicate. Okay, I don't make assumptions. I don't guess why they said the things they said or acted the way they act. I just go to them and I find out. And if their reason is bad, listen, guys, you need to understand, your opinion can be stupid. Your opinion can be wrong. If your opinion is based on a bad premise, you shouldn't have that opinion. When the premise is proven invalid, you should get rid of that opinion. If your emotional state is based on a premise that is false, you should try to remove that emotional state. Andrew's an asshole. Andrew didn't come around the gym for a couple weeks. Andrew doesn't like us. Andrew was building a film studio in the middle of a manic episode and starting a charity. That's the premise that's accurate. Now, if that doesn't work for you, I don't want anything to do with you because you're a fucking troglodyte. That means you don't care about accuracy. You don't care. You're going to hurt people with your stupidity. And I don't want to interact with people like that. Seriously. I want people that actually care about the truth. And I don't have any problem fixing bridges at Daisy Fresh or in the world. The thing about my manic episode is I didn't hurt anyone. I started a charity. I literally started a charity because that's what I've always wanted to do. And I told you it took my core personality and amplified it by 1,000. It freed me from the paradigms that were limiting my ability to think. So, I consider it a gift.
I'm going to pause here. Were you concerned at any point? Because this is, well, hold on. I want to get an idea of an outside perspective because you were closer to it. And what's problematic to me is when the internet chimes in, they don't have your ability to see what you're seeing. And I know that there's care with that you want to make sure he's okay. Again, sometimes it's just out of our wheelhouse. It's out of things that we know how to deal. So what was your thought process as this was going on?
So, like I said, when I showed up, it was pretty much at the very start of all of this manic episode stuff. And this was actually my first time like directly interacting with Andrew. So when I showed up and he was basically in the depths of the manic episode, I didn't quite know what to think at first. I didn't know if this was just like how he was. And then through talking to like Bird and then some of the other people around Andrew, I kind of fed off of their concern for him, but because I didn't actually know him that well, I was like, well, I don't really know what to think yet. So I was just trying to help everybody, make sure everybody was comfortable, give them what they needed. And then as we got through the process, the times that I got to interact with Andrew one-on-one, I didn't actually feel like there was that much that was wrong outside of his delivery of his ideas. When he was talking about his ideas, it did make sense. But I could definitely see that something was not the way it typically would be, again, through his delivery, the way he was interacting with the world. And then as he started to come out of that, and we started to kind of like talk and communicate about everything, things became a lot more calm.
So as a result of that, when you say stuff like that, to me, that's usually enough evidence. And I think he would suggest a similar, that there were a lot of people who step away from that. And yet you, with that care, you actually saw him at a most intense version of him. And yet you were like, no, I see him. So what were you seeing that you said, like, I kind of see that person? Like, what is it that was reaching out to you at that time?
So for me, the main thing is what are you doing?
This is also
I saw you put this in your pocket, by the way.
importantly terrible time.
That's your problem.
Yeah, of course. She's
So
on the
me,
booze,
yeah.
hey?
But so for me, honestly, more than anything, his passion to teach others and his passion to learn, I definitely saw that coming through everything that he was attempting to do. And I have had my own struggles with mental health with generalized anxiety disorder and a couple of other issues, not really like doing my own self-reflection. I eventually started my own therapy, and having just recently gone through that process, I felt like I could kind of see the fact that he was going through a struggle, but still felt very confident in what he was trying to do. And so that helped me manage the whole situation on an internal level a lot better.
Was that helpful for you then? Because
She was the only. I can't talk to anyone from my past life, okay? Because they think that the me that they knew was the real me, okay? People who knew me when I first moved down into the gym, I had no confidence. I was depressed every day of my life before that. I had nothing, okay? But I was fucking sharp as fuck. I really was. I kept telling everyone I was better at jiu-jitsu as a blue belt than I was as a black belt because my brain processed information faster and I trusted myself. So no one from my old life was willing to give me a shot, not a single person. I mean, literally, not one. There was a moment where I had no one. And then Fleur was the only person that she was willing to take in new because she didn't know me. And she could see that everyone was treating me in a way that wasn't fair. They were trying to say, especially after I was out of the manic episode, and I was just dealing with after effects, and I was dealing with them fast. She saw that I was getting treated unfairly. And she saw that I was trying my hardest, but no one was giving me a shot. And I mean every single person in my life, all of them. Bird, you know what? My dad didn't. Okay, I don't think my dad did. I think my mom might have been a little freaked out, but I didn't talk to them, you know. And then Heath was AWOL, doing his stuff. He's building a new gym. He has good reasons. The guys in the team intentionally turned their back on me. They never liked me. Okay, they all told Bird. And I don't mean all of them. I mean the guys you saw on the Daisy Fresh show, every single one of them told Bird they don't like me. They don't know me. They knew a dissociated me that didn't like training and getting hurt all the time. I wanted to train a lot smarter than they did. And Heath thought he put me in charge of the morning class. He didn't show up to those. I did. He thought that they were giving me respect. He thought I was running the program. He had no idea I was getting disrespected every day. I wasn't allowed to teach. Me, all I like to do is teach.
I want to ask this because I understand a very small sliver of it, which is I recognize that you went through something, and that when I asked you, I was like, do you remember interviewing with me? And kind of. Like, you kind of remember parts of it. And I don't
take it off. Sorry. I'm eccentric. I don't give a fuck. Fuck you guys.
If you're going to make any shirt, make that one. But the thing that is important to qualify for me is that I don't assume I'm going to be friends with everybody I interview. But what I do have is usually a common language, which is we spend some time together. If that language changes, then sometimes I don't have that connection, which means I either have to start over again, I have to make sure you're good. Like, there's a whole build of trust that happens when you spend time and you think like, okay, this is favorable on both parts. So to me, the thing that I went to go back to rewatch part of our interview, you looked happy. And to me, that's hard to put those things together, because when you were telling me things...
Now we get into wild shit, by the way.
Of course, but as you were talking to me, and this was February 2021, I believe, I could see you talking about lighter things. We're talking about Panda Express. We're talking about things that I was like, you know what? Oh, okay, cool. So it goes to show how little we can know on the other side of things. So when you are speaking about mental health and you are saying, you know, people really need to be more honest with it, it does really show in my example with you that, like, I wouldn't have known that. And that I think that you being vocal about what you're going through is great. The intensity of which may be difficult for people to keep up with or to even understand. But you sharing that to me was important to give you that feedback back, which was, yeah, I did feel like I was reintroducing myself into you and being like, no, man, we were favorable to what my recollection was. But then as I'm saying that, still allowing myself to say, I need to kind of relearn again. And I need to figure out where your process is, because I don't want to make those assumptions.
Yeah, this gets way more complicated. This is the mental health stuff. So look, I researched my entire family history, and I talked to my sister for the first time, and I gave her a shot with a new lens. Okay, my sister's incredibly smart. Crazier than Batman villains. I mean that, literally. Okay, she's been clinically diagnosed with, I think, 9 different disorders, one of which is dissociative identity disorder. Okay, multiple personality disorder. My sister has 3 personalities. One of them's name is like Cherish or Charity or something. I don't know. She's a little hazy on it. Okay, and I talked to her for a long time, and it's one of the... So me and my therapist are talking about what happened still. Okay, this is something I don't stop trying to figure out. I care about my mental health a lot more than you fucking idiots on the internet do. I go to experts, and I don't just trust the experts. I learn the information myself, and I verify. So there is a chance that I split off a personality when I was in the gym and I was hurting a lot. And that personality is the person that you knew, because that personality was a moron. And there's a good chance that I just dissociated completely. That is going to take a lot more introspection to figure out. Now, when I came out of it, I said it was waking up. Okay, you remember the crazy shit I said in my ISIS videos? No one knows the real me. There's a good chance I split off another personality. And that crazy ISIS motherfucker who was brilliant, okay, but didn't know that he had no skills. He had a lot of knowledge, but he had no skills at all. That individual only wanted to help people the same way the old individual did, but he had given up. Okay, so imagine the level of stress and factors I'm not going to go into that can make an individual shut down like that. So, we don't know exactly what happened, but there's a good chance that I had, past tense, dissociative identity disorder. Because a fun fact about it is you can actually cure it. You're susceptible to it genetically, but you don't have to keep it. Okay, what you can do is you can merge the personalities, which is introspection. And if there's anything I'm good at a lot of stuff. Okay, but it's introspection. I'm good at that. Okay, I know the skill sets. I've been learning it my entire life. So imagine waking up as a 30-year-old man with the knowledge of a world champion black belt. Okay, and imagine someone who cares about knowledge and cares about reason and science. And this whole personality splits off from that. And now you're making a lot of mistakes because you assume you have skill sets you don't have. And you learn from every single mistake, but you learn fast. Really fast. Now, that is what we think was happening. Because I was learning, but I was also overconfident. I had the planning fallacy by a lot. I was a very reassured in a lot of skill sets. I didn't have the skill sets. And then when me and my therapists, okay, because I talk to specialists, okay, not just one. I want to talk to people that specialize in stuff so I can get the real expertise. I don't think a generalist is going to be able to teach me what I want to know. So I went to the park for hours, for a whole day, and I told Fleur it's the most dangerous thing I've ever done in my life. Because when I looked in one day, there were a lot of signs that something was different, in case you guys didn't notice. My mannerisms had completely changed. I didn't like the same foods anymore. My taste buds had changed. I looked in the mirror and I didn't recognize who I saw. I wanted a tuxedo really badly. Okay, really badly. My self-image was completely different. So there was a lot of signs. I did not put up with any disrespect towards my intelligence whatsoever. Because I don't care what you're going to say about this. I have literal proof that I am very intelligent. Okay? So, there was a lot of signs, and when I talked to my sister, they crystallized. Because my sister's crazier than a fucking Batman villain. But she's actually incredibly intelligent too, and I didn't realize it because I didn't give her a fair shot for factors I'm not going to go into. And when I went to the park and I talked to my therapist of what I'm supposed to do, I looked in first before I went, and I saw someone inside who was shaking a fucking cage out of rage and despair. And I mean that. Visually, I could see it. And I told Fleur, and I accidentally cracked the cage open first. The motion was coming, and I wasn't ready for it. It was a tsunami. You want to describe how I was on that day?
It was definitely, I don't even know if there is a word to describe it. You came up and you said this might be the most dangerous thing I've ever done, and there was definitely, I could feel a lot of emotion going on underneath, and that you needed your time because you weren't sure how things were going to go. And
I told her to check on me. All right. I went to the park and I fixed it. I stomped the cage into oblivion. I said, I'm not dissociating again. Nothing is going to make me dissociate again. I won't go back in the box. And I accidentally merged the personalities. I cured my own dissociative identity disorder, and I cured my own mania. Whoever says you can't do it doesn't know what they're talking about, because that's all the therapist is trying to make you do is introspect in the correct way. So I merged the personalities. So my mannerisms aren't going back. I'm not going back. I like myself now. This is the first time in my life I've ever been happy. And it's not because of Fleur, though Fleur is a major part of it. This is the first time I've been able to actually have emotion that wasn't anxiety or depression. Everything I did, video game addiction, I was just looking for dopamine. I was filling a void. Throwing myself into books because I wanted to escape. Jiu-Jitsu let me shut my brain off. Okay, you can put anything in front of me that was stimulating to me, and I would dive into it 100% because I couldn't sleep. I never slept. I would stay up until I was so tired I would pass out. Every single time. Or I would take drugs, I would take edibles, so I could shut my brain off, so I could numb myself to the despair. So, that's where I was. And you guys want me to go back to that? I'm going to kindly tell you to fuck off. I don't plan on it, and you can't make me. I'm very smart. So, where I'm at right now is the healthiest I've ever been mentally and physically. The first thing that I did when I woke up was go to sports physiotherapists and have them teach me how to do strength and conditioning for eccentric and concentric phases, okay, correctly. I learned how to do it for muscular conditioning, for isometric squeeze. I learned how to do the stretches properly. And I learned how to gain end-of-range motion control. I learned how to do my cardio. And then I went and I found more experts. I went to a lady who's not a dietitian, but she has 2 PhDs, and she went and researched the dietitian shit for me. And I'm going to go to an actual dietitian next. I went to a friend at the Olympic Training Center for wrestling, and I had her verify all the information and tell me what they're doing at the Olympics. And I matched that against what I thought was the right thing to do, and they matched up perfectly. Except I got a little more knowledge I didn't have. I won't train like a moron anymore. And I won't allow people around me to tell me how to train. I want the reasons only. If you can give me a good reason and not do what I'm doing, I will always change my mind. I'm the most reasonable person alive clinically. Okay, I need the reason. If you can give me a good reason, I'll always be convinced. Reason is infectious. You have no choice. You're helpless against it if you're a reasonable person.
So I want to address, I kind of want to start putting a button on part of that journey, or at least part of what people tried to pick out of it. Because again, the internet is good out of context theater, which is what it seemed like they were trying to do. So if I ever look at something at Reddit, I can only approach it with a skepticism, period. So for me, a lot of this was, I sent you a note and I just was like, I hope you're good. And I just want you to hear some form of support. Now, it's not to say, again, like we have a real friendship past anything else. It's
I got to talk about that. Remind me. Okay.
Sure. But part of the reason why I make sure of that is that I think it is important when you see people that you are friendly with to give them those moments, because what they're hearing is amplified in the opposite way. So to me, I was like, hey, you know what? I hope you're good. I don't know if you'll read this or you'll see it, but I'm sure I can't be the only one. Make sure you have that base.
Yeah, so I make a fuckload of mistakes. Like, seriously, I my team is trained to think critically and independently and make sure I don't fuck up more than I already have. All right? And one of the mistakes I keep making is I keep overestimating people. Believe it or not, I'm an optimist. I think you're going to read between the lines. I think you're going to listen to the context of what I'm saying, and I've been let down 100,000 times so far. It doesn't happen. You hear what you want to hear. Context doesn't matter to people. It really doesn't. So that kind of sucks. Because there was a point where I said in my manic phase, the words that I say I choose extremely carefully. The context always matters. You have to pay attention. And that just bounced. All right? That is something I had to learn how to manage. I had to learn to make things digestible for people again. Because again, I had a lot of knowledge, but not a lot of skills. So, dissociative identity disorder. You guys, it still is bouncing off everyone. I don't have a single emotional attachment to anyone from my past life. I have intellectual attachments. And if you were toxic to me, the amount of history that we had doesn't mean a single thing to me. I have zero emotional attachment to it. And if you're currently being toxic, I give everyone a chance. I give everyone a shot. And if you're still attacking me, that's it for me. Okay? People get scared of decisiveness. It freaks people out. Now, decisiveness without thought is impulsiveness. I'm not impulsive. I put a lot of thought in everything I do. You can ask her. I've got a lot of whiteboards. And you can ask how fast I process information. Okay? So things look impulsive, but they're not. There's a depth behind them that freaks people out. Because I make decisions and they're final, and I sound authoritative because I'm confident. Now, I've cut a lot of toxic shit out of my life. A lot of little cancerous tumors that thought they could attach me forever. They just can't anymore, and it's freaking them out. Because I won't put up with it now. Now I stand up for myself, and now I stand up for other people. Everything I ever wanted to do, attacking sexual predators in Jiu-Jitsu, helping people like me who are trapped in a box that deserve to have the chance to win the worlds, for real. Going after the toxic, insular nature of Jiu-Jitsu with cross-training and everything, affiliation nonsense. I'm going to do it all at the same time because I know how to juggle. All right? Juggling is just planning. It's keeping track of moving balls that you decide the trajectory of. And when you've got 6 whiteboards and you've got a team of people that are brilliant, it's not that hard.
Well, I'm obviously wishing you well on that part of the journey. I think that is going to be something that you're going to continue to work on as you match what you're doing with your mental health with your ambition. So I think that is going to be something that it is difficult to do that. I think a lot of people struggle with it, period, one or another, but sometimes it does become amplified as you do put more plates down. So I think you're capable of it. It's not that. It's just, it does take on a lot of stuff. I don't
care if I fail is the thing.
That's not the issue. I don't think
at least I actually tried.
I don't think it's a fail. I think sometimes you can run out of fuel.
Oh, I can't.
So
no, I mean literally, I'm incapable of it. I'm clinically incapable of running out of fuel because the thing about that people don't realize is that your brain doesn't activate the same if you're doing shit you don't want to do. I have given up on that. I only do what I want to do.
Okay.
So I don't work a day in my life.
If you're
because
still
this is what I like.
sleeping, you are still recovering.
I sleep every single night like a baby for the first time in my life.
Which is great. And A+, let's keep that up. But again, it's that replenishing. So that's what I talk about. It's not
I plan for downtime.
Yes, but I think it's not you can't create the energy in your brain to come up with those plans. It's that you could burn yourself out.
No, that's what I'm telling you. I can't because I'm only doing the shit I really genuinely want to do at my core. I know myself in a way that people are not capable of knowing themselves because they don't know how to look in. I know what I want in life. I know who I am. Imagine sitting for hours thinking about this, knowing what you're doing. All right, I've done it. I know who I am. I know my core principles. I know my core values. I know exactly where I want to go with my life. And it's bigger than jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is an aspect of it. So I can't run out of steam if I'm only doing the shit that's the funnest you can ever make me do. Problem solving for me is euphoric. And I've got a lot of problems I need to solve.
Okay. So on that same vein, I want to ask about the seminars that you did teach there, because
The whiteboard one, that was a clusterfuck?
well, okay, I want to juxtapose that to what I saw, because I think one of the things that I saw when you said you were coming to LA is I go, is this going to be 2 hours? And then we did find out it could only be 2 hours.
Yeah.
But you did put a nice little tag at the end, which is I would teach forever, but we do have a hard out that we got to hit.
Yeah. And I mean, I literally can teach for 10 hours. I have no problem doing it because I'm teaching information I like to teach, and I like to teach.
So when you were doing that, though, I don't even think there was real blowback, but there was more you explaining your actions, refunding the gym.
Oh, that
what
fucking,
happened
that
on
seminar.
Yes. That.
Oh my God, that was such a mess. Now listen, I'm going to tell you guys the truth about this, but you guys have to understand this is not the gym owner's real fault. Okay, the motto in my life is everything that's a factor that I can control is always my fault. I could have planned for this. I could have foreseen this. I could have put contingency plans in place. The problem is I was fucking manic as shit, and I had no idea because I couldn't see it yet. So I asked Charlie, let's make the seminar free. I want to do a free seminar. Okay, I don't think knowledge should be hidden behind a paywall. And I knew that I could always change my mind later if a free seminars for donation-based didn't work out, which is something people don't think about. If I say I'm going to do this and it doesn't work, I'll just change my fucking mind. It's not that hard. I'll explain my reasoning. So he said, okay. And then I also wanted to make the seminar longer. I wanted to do a full day camp because I wanted to teach the really important shit. I knew already that it takes me like 4 hours to teach you a knee slice if I teach you every detail I know. And I knew I wanted to get really important stuff to me across, because if I teach you every move I knew, you can't do what I do. Because you won't process it the same. You don't know how to compartmentalize jiu-jitsu and how to conceptualize it yet. I wanted to teach that. I wanted to teach problem solving and generating new ideas. And I wanted to teach them how to apply that to jiu-jitsu as a concept. And then show them and go through and do it with them and help them build their own systems. And I fucked up because I started with the whiteboard. Oh my God. But you guys remember, I was clinically manic. At that time, I was completely gone. I was seriously completely gone. In the sense that I could not look in yet because I was hyper-fixated on my goal of freedom. And I could not see what I sounded like to everybody. And the funny thing is, some of the people that stayed who are rational, critical thinkers were able to follow my train of thought. They got a lot out of it. A lot of people were freaked out, though, because I didn't sound right. A lot of people were freaked out because the ideas are new ideas, and they're never seen in jiu-jitsu because jiu-jitsu is a small sport, and it's conservative by nature. And that does not lead to hypercritical thinking ever. So those people were freaked out, and they left a free seminar that I streamed, free. Now, what I failed to take into account, okay, remember I used to say I had a lot of memory problems. I had a lot of memory problems because I was completely dissociated. I was incapable of caring. I just intellectually knew what the right thing to do was, and I cared about doing that. Charlie was trying to make some extra money off the seminar, so he charged a little extra, which was completely fine. So when I told him it was free, he just heard a big personality, a big name in jiu-jitsu saying, make this free. But that's not what I said. I said, are you okay with making this free? And he felt pressured into doing it, which is something that I would be aware of. I made a mistake. I don't blame myself because I was manic, but I did make a mistake. So he needed the money for his gym. It was a free seminar. Some people got charged at the door. It was a mistake. That wasn't my fault. And they thought, what the fuck's going on? So to make sure everyone that got charged got their money back, and to make sure Charlie's gym was going to be able to be safe and fine, I just gave him my own money. I didn't make any money off that seminar. I lost a lot of money off that seminar because it was the right thing to do. And again, this is not an attack on anyone. If you guys attack anyone off this, I will attack you verbally because you're morons. Okay, I owned what happened, and I fixed it, and there's nothing to look into past that. It was a miscommunication based on a manic state that I was not responsible for.
Well, you did make it up to him by sending that $2,000. So that was something that I did see you try to do. He
needed it for his gym, and he needed to give those people their money back.
Yeah. And I saw that, and I said, okay, I think you kind of recognize there was a problem that happened. You could understand.
No. Okay, so here's the worst part. I was lied to. Every step of the way I asked, is this okay? Is this okay? Is this okay? I won't defend that this happened, but I was lied to blatantly. I was told nobody got charged. I was told it was all fine every step of the way. That is not my fault, and I will not defend it. But I understand the reasons for it, and I accept those. That's the end of the conversation.
Got it. All right. I want to switch this to a little bit of your jiu-jitsu.
Okay, can I use the bathroom when you talk to Fleur real quick? No?
Yeah, what a fucking
All right.
exit. End of conversation. Beginning of P.
It's that.
No, I know. Don't trip as you go.
It's the assertive.
It is the decisiveness and the assertiveness. All right, I'm going to block out that sound. All right, let's talk about jiu-jitsu beginnings. Where's jiu-jitsu begin for you?
So I actually wrestled for 2 years in high school. The last 2 years, I was the only female on my team. So basically, I joined wrestling because a teacher said that they thought it would be a really good fit for me. There was a very small, like, quote-unquote self-defense MMA club that ended up kind of dying off, and I'd been very invested in doing it, so they're like, I think you will really like wrestling. I tried wrestling. It was very difficult, but I liked the challenge of it. And I knew because I had just done it my last 2 years, and it was not something I was super invested in as an athlete. I had heard about jiu-jitsu, so I was like, oh, that might be like a great fit when I go to college. Then I went to college and I played Quidditch for 3 years, the Harry Potter sport, played Quidditch for 3 years, eventually got around to starting jiu-jitsu, trained off and on, sometimes like once a month for about a year. And then eventually when I quit Quidditch, I got really into jiu-jitsu, and that's when I started kind of falling in love with it.
What made you fall in love with jiu-jitsu?
The complexity of it, from the physical aspects to the mental aspects, the variety of games that you can play. It's like a big puzzle. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I was starting to get very invested in the human body. I hadn't decided what I wanted to do yet, but I've decided that I want to be a physical therapist to help specifically jiu-jitsu athletes stay on the mat, because there are a lot of issues with jiu-jitsu athletes not knowing how to train, how to recover. So I'd become very interested in the human body at that point, and along with jiu-jitsu being like a puzzle, it was just very like stimulating for me on an intellectual and physical level, and that made me fall in love with it.
Well, that would explain why you ran into this guy. So that all connects on that side. For you though, how long have you been training now again?
I've been training for about, I think, 5 years total, if you count like the 1 year.
Yeah.
In and out, maybe a little over. So.
Do you miss the wrestling side of it? Because again, it's a different skill set. When people were like, oh, so you do jiu-jitsu, you got a little wrestling, I was like, no, don't do that.
I actually really miss the wrestling aspect. That's something that I've always wanted to deep dive into, but because the gym that I was training at until recently was an MMA gym and I was the only female, 99% of my partners were like 180 plus pounds. So it was very difficult to actually get any legitimate live wrestling training in outside of just basic drilling. So I haven't gotten to deep dive into it as much as I would like, but that's something I'm hoping to get back into because I like the aggressiveness of it. I like the pace. Yeah. So.
And all things considered, 2 things work in your favor. One, you are young enough that you can recover from it. And 2, you definitely have, as somebody who has researched how to take care of your body better, that is something that is very helpful, I hear, for wrestling. Yes. Because of, when you look at somebody who's wrestled for a bit, you're like, this dude can't walk.
You're messed up. Your body is not the way it could be.
This dude is 60, but actually 20. So good to know. I do find it fascinating when you do get excited by jiu-jitsu, and I always love asking people when they fall in love with it. But what is keeping you going right now? Like, what are you excited by in jiu-jitsu, and what are the things that make you want to get up and go train that morning?
The biggest thing, honestly, is the fact that there's always something to learn. That people say that jiu-jitsu is a sport you do for life, and if you take care of yourself, it really is true. There's always something new to learn. There's always ways to try to make it better for your body. There's always ways to try to learn a new game, things that you're bad at, things that you're good at, make them better. So the fact that it's something that I can constantly improve in, pretty much until the day that I die, or if I get good enough to where I can really teach other people and make them better at it, like it's just a never-ending journey, and that motivates me to do it.
That's awesome. So, having said that, what do we get to see in the future for both of you? Because now that you're teaming up, you seem to complement a lot of things that are helpful to him. He obviously has a very, very keen and astute jiu-jitsu brain that I'm sure is great for you, because when you sit there and you go, I resonate with people who like seeing puzzles and solving them with me and creating that sort of intellectual approach to jiu-jitsu.
I didn't know that. You like puzzles?
I do, yeah.
You want to do a puzzle?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
This is got real gross, but that's fine.
Got gross. Oh my god.
You know what I
You're
mean?
the fucking Grinch. Oh my god.
You guys are
little shriveled
literally,
ass heart.
First of all,
Okay.
there's a little bit of PDA happening right before, and I'm like, okay, she's finishing the point, and then all of a sudden I just hear like, what do you guys want to do? You want to do a puzzle tonight? I love you so much right now. Let's
Oh
do
my
a fucking
God.
puzzle. That's what we're gonna do. So yeah, I have the ability to make fun of that. But what's coming up next for the both of you?
If she doesn't win the black belt worlds, I'm going to be very disappointed in my ability as a coach. And I'm going after every single person in jiu-jitsu I don't think is a good person. I'm going to beat the fuck out of them. I'm not even going to tap them until a minute before overtime is over, like a minute before the end of the round. Because I have a lot of problems to solve. I'm good at I got a lot of whiteboards. The whiteboard shit stays because whiteboards are effective at generating ideas and problem solving. They really are.
I'm gonna be honest. So not knowing a lot of the context of what was going wrong with you, and people were like whiteboards. I was like, I love whiteboards. What
Whiteboards
the
are
fuck
fucking.
are you guys
Listen,
talking about?
I'm actually painting my gym with whiteboard paint.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I actually
Hell
have.
yeah.
I'm talking to a company to sponsor me for doing it.
That's awesome.
Because
dude.
why spend your own money? Big brain. We're big brain Wiltse now. You know, I used to joke about different personalities and shit, and that shit's not as much funny, and when it couldn't possibly happen to me. I thought I was better than that, but you're not. Listen, you motherfuckers need therapy. I cared about mental health, and I didn't do my rigorous paying attention and going and getting help that I said I should have done. I knew better. I was dissociated. I had an excuse. Go get a therapist.
I'm happy that you are continuing to put that message out there. So is that part of your game plan? Because he just volunteered you to be like, well, one, she's going to be a black belt. Two, she's going to kill everybody.
If you don't want to do that, that's okay.
No, we're on the same page. Being a world champion is something that I've always wanted, but never had any kind of confidence or faith in myself to admit. And then recently, over a lot of like life changes, I've started to come to terms with the fact that it's worth the shot. And having gone to a gym where I couldn't train the way that I wanted to, it's made it difficult. I've had lots of ups and downs in my jiu-jitsu journey, and that's part of why I decided to move. And then through everything that I've gone through over the last couple of weeks, getting to know him and just being in a different environment, I've started to develop small bits of confidence in myself to just try the journey.
Well, number one, excellent uke. Number two, just from the little bit that I could see, movement looks good. Like, especially 5 years in, you're in good shape. I love the collaboration between the two of you. I think there's a lot of good stuff that we can see. So I have a lot of excitement on that. What I would say is that as I am watching what is the beginnings of something good for, I think both of you, just in the time that I've gotten to interact with you off camera and in the seminars, there is a very nice dynamic that you guys have. It is very caring. It is very nice. And I think it's kind of cool when you have somebody who is there for you at your most extreme. It is usually very indicative of the character of that person. So I think that is really cool, and I want to make sure that you know that, because it can be scary, you know?
I was terrifying, motherfucker.
But you're not the only person
What was
to be...
Alejandro thinking?
But you're not the only person to be terrifying. Other people in their instances in their lives have seen their loved ones go through something that they can't touch, they can't fix, they can't do anything to. Mm-hmm. What they can do is try to be the support and provide options and thoughts and maybe some solutions.
I need to talk about this for a second. So look, you may know someone that has a lot of problems and you may think you have the solution, but you have to think really hard about what you're doing. If you're going above someone's head and trying to make decisions for their life and you haven't put a serious, rigorous amount of thought into it, you're going to do damage. Okay, a lot of people thought they were helping me, and what they did was they hurt me worse than anyone's hurt me in my entire life, because you got to understand, I didn't have emotion for 10 years, and I got it all back, all at the same time while I was dealing with a lot of fires. And my friends, all right, they thought they were helping me while doing the worst possible betrayals they could ever do to me. So, I keep saying this. Thoughtless actions cause damage. Thinking, listen, I play D&D. Fuck you. Okay? Thoughtless actions are one of the worst things you can do. That means you couldn't care enough to stop and think. Thinking is a free action. Okay, when you stop and think, you make sure that you're covering your bases, and that doesn't mean going with the first idea that pops into your head. Okay, I talk about thoughts in 3 layers. You have your surface layer, smooth brain bullshit, where the first thought that pops in your head, you're going to run with it because you're a troglodyte. You got your second layer where you stopped and thought about for 5 seconds. 5 seconds of your time stops you from doing a lot of damage. Really important stuff, you get a whiteboard out for. You spend 5 minutes thinking about it. and I will teach you people how to think about this correctly or not. I don't care if you learn. I'm going to do my best to teach. So they thought they were helping me by doing the worst possible thing they could do to hurt me all the time, over and over again, because they were thoughtless. Okay, thinking is a free action. Thoughtlessness is a crime. All right, I got betrayed. I got hurt repeatedly for the first time when I had emotions, and people were able to hurt me again. All they did was hurt me, except for Fleur. Well, one time Fleur hurt me, but I don't blame her because she was completely. Who the fuck in their right sane mind? I think she's crazy. Seriously, who the fuck stays? But honestly, who in their right mind stays? Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? You kinky bitch. No, it's just, guys, think about what you're doing. You're not helping someone if you don't think. Being intelligent is a choice. It's just a culmination of skills. And if you're not intelligent, you can get intelligent. You may not reach genius level, but that's okay. At least you're trying. Don't make decisions for people unless you've put a lot of thought into it. It's a really simple idea to think about.
All right. We're going to start to close this down. I did want to end by mentioning a few things. One, if you have the opportunity to take one of his seminars, I do highly recommend it. I was able to implement a lot of the stuff that you were doing to people who also took your seminar enrolling. And I think that's usually a good sign. I'm like, you saw what I saw. You know exactly what's coming. And a lot of them, when I gave them the opportunity, I was like, let me show you what I did. They could understand it. It was concise but thoughtful. And so that's a hard balance to hit because a lot of people just put in flashy and dumb shit that's unnecessary. But when you're explaining, this has a thought process, and if you are systematically doing this, and this, it will have a higher likelihood to lead to passing, to lead to scoring, to lead to submitting. Yeah, and for me, I tell people the joke that I have is when I roll with people, I have like the Jarvis, the Iron Man Jarvis and Friday system that goes, he's only got a 30% chance of submitting. He's not going to get this. And so for me, I'm constantly looking and evaluating like, oh, he does this well, he does not do this well. And like my brain just kind of calculates, and that's how it comes up with risk. So that's why it's like, yeah, I really don't get hurt because I recognize, oh, I'm fucked. Oh yeah, I got to tap on this one. Or you're missing some details. This armbar's not happening. I'm gonna take a $5. But I did want to also mention, again, looking forward to a very, very cool and long career. At 5 years, you're at that good point where new shit's going to be thrown at you, and it sounds like a lot of exciting stuff is coming your way. So I'm very much going to be looking forward to giving you a proper sit-down interview when you win one of those major competitions, because there's nothing more I love than sending a note to somebody when they win something big and saying like, hey, you know this message is coming. We're going to do the interview. We're going to celebrate. We're going to talk about that. And
you want to make his little shriveled heart just like expand right now?
What?
Hana ga kire.
Kire.
Kire. Is that good? Hi. Okay. We're learning Japanese. Okay. You know what that means?
no.
It means pretty flower for pretty girl.
Well,
Do you have a flower?
I added the first. No, she's the flower. She's the pretty flower.
She's
girl.
the flower.
Fleur is French for flower.
Yeah, exactly.
Name, so.
See, you gotta go layers deeper, man. Gotta layers. Just I can see he's uncomfortable right now.
No, it's not even uncomfortable.
You are
It's
super
just-
uncomfortable.
It's literally just, I'm trying to land this bird because I need to get you guys to LAX.
All right, let's go to LAX, guys.
Yeah,
Let's go
we're
to the
going to
airport,
LAX.
guys. Thank you for
No,
tuning
that's
in.
not how this works. We close. It's very different. There's a process for this.
All right, you're in charge. You're the boss.
All right, thank you. Anyway, last thing I'm going to say, thank you guys so much if you're watching this. We would love it if you support us. All you have to do is give us a like and a share at Grappling Hour. You can find us on all the major social media. So we're talking Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. The other ones, I don't know what they are, but I forget what they are. And if you like this and you like the type of content that we create, go to hi.page/grappling hour to see the premium content that we do with some of our guests. Some of it's good. And you'll actually, on that premium content, see a little vlog that I made of going to the seminars. And you'll see a little bit of it just so you can kind of get a feel of why I enjoyed what I saw this weekend. And hopefully none of you pay attention to what the technique is, because I really want to try and ride beating you guys up with that.
Listen, it doesn't matter if you guys know the technique. It's going to work anyways.
You can say that, I can't. But I'm going to say this to you, man. I appreciate getting to spend time with you this weekend. It was a blast. I really, really appreciate you. I know that you provide a good service to the community. And I know that even when you don't have the answers, you're really trying to get them. And I think that's great. So if for any reason you do not remember this or
God
something
damn it, I'm
happened.
saying no, mostly.
You listen, I don't pretend anything is ever concrete and absolute.
I understand. I do.
But if I have to go about introducing myself to you again, I will be happy to do it because at your core, I think you're a good guy, and I think that you are trying to make not one thing right, about 40 different things right.
I love the low ball. Listen, let's do it now. I'm Andrew.
Oh, God, Rafa Sparza. Nice to meet
you, buddy.
man. It's good to see you. You didn't just forget the interview, though, right?
Where am I?
Oh. Anyway, hey, on a real topic, mental health is important.
It is important,
We kid
guys.
about it, but because we're assholes and we can get away with doing that. But we spend a lot of time giving it an actual conversation that I don't know that other people will. I hope that you guys take it seriously. If you ever need help, go out there and get that. What are you talking to? Who is he?
I'm good.
Oh, God. I was like, wait. At first, I took that as, who's this guy think he fucking is, as opposed to who is he? Anyway, thank you for watching. We'll see you back on the mats. It's been a great day for grappling. Peace.
Perfect.